The Wizard of Boz is no more. 166 innings must be replaced in the rotation, no matter what.
You are Locked On Rays, your daily Tampa Bay Rays podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into the Locked On Rays podcast. Locked On Rays is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network, your team every day. And we are Kevin and Ulises.
And we are lifelong Rays fans who have been podcasting about the Tampa Bay Rays since 2019.
Later on today's show, trading Shane Baz means the Rays have high hopes for another Shane. In a few minutes, they got quite the prospect haul, but that doesn't mean they're sure things for the Rays. But to start, trading Shane Baz along with Brandon Lau, that means a white flag for 2026.
And we're going to talk about all of that thanks to FanDuel. If you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. Kevin, just like with the Brandon Lau trade, losing Shane Baz makes the team worse in 2026. Now, with Fairbanks gone, Brandon Lau gone, Mason Montgomery, Jake Mangum, Shane Baz gone, it just makes you kind of aware that right now, as it is constructed, this 2026 team is objectively worse.
Yes.
We have Eric Neander quotes stating exactly that the 2026 might be taking a step back. And now with this Shane Baz deal, it's not like you helped out Pittsburgh, right? Do its own thing in the NL Central. You're helping out an AL East foe, making it even more difficult for you to compete in this division that is already very difficult. And the Orioles themselves are also adding. So you've got the Yankees who are the Yankees, the Red Sox who are the Red Sox, and then the Jays just went to the bleeping World Series and gave us a Game 7 of the ages. Oh, and now the Orioles have money to spend on a guy like Pete Alonso and making trades for Taylor Ward and now getting Shane Baz. It's a lot, man.
It's kind of crazy. And I know there's some people that have soured on Shane Baz a little bit, and somewhat deservedly so. We look at his injury history in this past season. While he did put up 166 innings pitched, over 30 starts, one of 3 Rays players to do that, which is a very rare feat in Rays history and really all of baseball over the past couple of decades. I would think they say, he's a Chris Archer 2.0. He had a 4.87 ERA. What gives? Well, Shane Baz is still extremely young by all standards.
Right.
He's a 26-year-old starter with 3 years of team control, and there's still upside if you look at his repertoire and how fast he can throw the baseball. And here's the thing that I don't think gets talked enough about Shane Baz is his struggles at George M. Steinbrenner Field. Mm-hmm. In his 16 outings there at the spring training ballpark, he had a 5.9 ERA. So that ballpark, for one reason or another, gave him a whole heck of a lot of trouble. In fact, 18 of his 26 home runs were there. Not to say that, we should totally wash that aside, but I would think if he's able to play in a professional environment and professional confines, and we know what Baltimore likes to do, they'll move the fences back if they have to. They'll move them in, they'll move them back, they'll do whatever they have to do to help their team win. I think that would probably help settle Shane Baz down a little bit. And I still think he has a lot of potential, and he's better than that 4.87 ERA suggests, which there's a reason why Baltimore seemingly gave up the farm to acquire him. They think there's still a lot to build off of him. There's a reason why Shane Baz has been thrown around in the Diamondbacks Ketel Marte trade. There's something about him that teams still like.
And guess what? If he did that awful at Steinbrenner Field, that means he did pretty damn decent outside of it. And he did a 3.86 ERA in 15 starts last year. So when you look at Shane Baz, in that curveball is so bleeping nasty. The cutter and the slider weren't that great of pitches for him last year, but that curveball is incredibly nasty. So maybe the Orioles are saying, hey, we're going to scrap that off. Let's focus on that curveball being your out pitch. And maybe that's something that they can even utilize with the ballpark dimensions to get him even more nasty than he was with the Rays. And let's not forget, in 2024, in a very short comeback after TJ, he did really, really well with the Rays. So this 5.90 ERA at Steinbrenner Field, I really honestly, I mean, not throw it completely out the window, but kind of, man, like it seems like he's not that guy. So can he be a mid-rotation guy, a 4, maybe a 5? I think you will take that in a minute. However, he still has the talent and the length of time in his rookie contract of years of control. I think he's got 3 more years of control. Correct. Where you can say, hey, if we just give him a little bit more time, a little bit more patience, and maybe fine-tune the repertoire a little bit more, the pitch usage, maybe he can be a number 2, maybe even a number 1 for the Orioles.
Yeah, and it's crazy to think about that and him, attacking Rays hitters in 2026 and beyond. And look, I don't think Shane Baz was acquired by Baltimore to be a frontline guy just yet. I think they will have patience with him because they are as aggressive as ever. I mean, they're probably not far away from adding another arm or 2. Like they are definitely in the market to buy pieces. So it's not like Shane Baz has to step in right away and the pressure will be on him of, hey, you have to be our number 1 or number 2, or
which is so huge.
Kind of settle into a role.
Yeah, it's going to be huge for him to not have that weight on his shoulders. Like he's coming in as a 3, maybe, after Rogers and Bradish, maybe. Right. So like that's a nice place for him. And hey, if the Orioles are not done, can they go out and get a Ranger Suarez? Can they go out and get a Framber Valdez? I mean, they could. Apparently they have the money to do those sorts of things. So I think this is a very nice landing spot for Shane Baz. But because of that, then the inverse is it's not a good time for the Rays. Because
it might not be good for the Rays.
You gave up 166 innings. You gave up 30-plus starts. Where are those going to come out of? Because you have to make up those innings. Somebody's got to pitch them. That's why Andy Sonnenstein was your number 5 at times, because somebody had to be on the bump. Somebody had to just throw the pitches to get those innings, man. And if Shane Baz is not there, what are the plans?
Right. And that's why a guy like, I mentioned him ever so often, but a guy like Joe Blanton sticks around in the bigs for so long. Even if you have a career 5 ERA, if you can be out there every 5 games, that is a value added at the end of the day. And look, I know it's not necessarily fun to trade intra-division and there's a tax involved. Baltimore certainly had to pay that with the prospects given up, although they're no sure things. We'll get at that in a second. But you look at it, and as we talked about on Monday's episode, the Rays weren't going anywhere this season. So it's, look, at the end of the day, it's not like they were going with Shane Baz or without Shane Baz that they were going to be a contender. But I'll tell you what, it could be a little bit concerning when you look forward at what happens in 2027, what happens in 2028, what happens in 2029. What is Shane Baz going to be then? And that could be a little bit of a scary sight if you're a Rays fan. So.
Yeah, which is just making the in division so much more difficult for you in 2026. I agree. With Shane Baz or not Shane Baz, you're still not going to be probably, smelling a wild card spot. But now, after all of these names gone, after Friday was executed, you kind of look around and you have to know the 2026 team got objectively worse. Do not read into people that are saying that the 2026 team got better. Did the organization itself as a whole get better?
Yeah.
Yes. Did the 2026 team get better? Heck no.
Now, having said all that, while the Rays received lots of intriguing prospects in the Brandon Lau deal, but especially the Shane Baz deal, we still need to tame our expectations with these young kids. NFL Sundays move fast, one big play, and suddenly everything feels different. That's what makes live betting with FanDuel so exciting. You're not just watching the game, you're reacting to it in real time. With FanDuel, you can place bets as the action unfolds. Every drive, every momentum swing, every highlight moment. Live betting is best when the game starts to shift. A receiver gets hot, a defense tightens up, or the momentum flips after a turnover. And FanDuel lets you jump into the moment with live spreads and money lines adjusting instantly, player props updating as guys heat up, and then you can bet next touchdown scores, drive results, totals, and more. Ultimately, it keeps you locked into every snap, every drive, and frankly, every possibility. So if you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. FanDuel, the game moves fast, and so can you. Thank you for making Locked On Rays your first listen of the day, and thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. And if you want to take it up a level for just $5, you can join the Everydayer Club and get this podcast with no interruptions and the members-only Discord channel. Go to lockedonrays.supercast.com or check our show notes to learn more. Tame your excitement for the Shane Baz prospect haul. Let's just reiterate, if you are not familiar with all the characters that were involved in this deal. There were so many trades and so much movement on Friday with the Rays alone. It's hard to keep up with these names that you've probably never heard of. But with the Shane Baz deal in particular, the Orioles, of course, got Shane Baz, and the Rays got outfielder Slater to Brun, catcher Caden Bodine, right-handed pitcher Michael Ferret, outfielder Austin Overn, as well as a competitive balance round A draft pick. All four of those prospects joined Tampa Bay's top 30 prospects list, according to MLB Pipeline. For it is at number 7, DeBrun at 8, Bodine at 13, and Overn at number 22. Now, we must caution and we must remind that prospects at the end of the day are lottery tickets, unless your name is Wander Franco, which is as sure of a thing can get. And then crazy things happen and you're not playing baseball anymore. So besides that, in most cases, guys don't pan out because they just can't hack it at the major league level. But I've seen some comments of, oh, this is Chris Archer deal 2.0, where the Rays traded Chris Archer to the Pirates and in return got Austin Meadows, Tyler Glasnow, and a player to be named later, who was ultimately Shane Baz. But I will counter that argument with the Blake Snell trade, where the Rays traded Blake Snell to the Padres and got back Luis Patino, who had his own nickname before he probably should have had one, Francisco Mejia, Blake Hunt, and Cole Wilcox. I mean, we were under the presumption that Luis Patino and Cole Wilcox would be,
mainstay
3 or 4 in our rotation, and Mejia and Blake Hunt would be, our starting catcher and backup catcher for the next 5 years. Alas, that did not happen in the least. While Blake Snell went on to win a Cy Young.
Because prospects are just that, man. There could be, they're not should be's. Yeah. And I think a lot of the time, I think it's gone with the analytical world in baseball, with this turn to that side of things, where we've become more prospect huggers, and there's this narrative that, like, well, he's gonna be this guy. There's just like, there should be feeling towards prospects, right, when it's not should be's, it's could be's. And I hope so. And so when you look at guys that Shane Baz gets, Slater to Brun, which I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, high school pick, dude is jacked, by the way. If you have a couple minutes, take a load.
With a name like Slater, I guess you have to be.
Slater, you have to be jacked to the gills. Well, guess what? He hasn't played a pitch in professional ball yet. Not one pitch in professional ball. Caden Bodine, hopefully he's the catcher for the Rays for the next 10 years, and he becomes the Buster Posey that we never could have.
Yeah.
He's just been drafted. So we're not going to see Caden, if ever, for the next 3 or 4 years. down the road. This ain't football, Kevin. This ain't football. We're not going to see him right away. So they need some cooking. And for Red and Auvergne, in a competitive balance round A draft pick, we don't even have a name for that.
No.
So for everybody that's saying this is a Chris Archer trade if I've ever seen one, no, it's not. It's not a Chris Archer trade until it becomes a Chris Archer trade. We need to see who Caden, Slater, Michael, Austin, and competitive balance round A draft pick become to even say that it's a Chris Archer trade. I think that's preposterous. And I think that everybody that's saying that should maybe put down the phone, log off Twitter a little bit, go outside, look up, look at the sky. It's blue. There's clouds. Touch the grass. Get off the social media for a little bit. Don't just call it Chris Archer trade when it hasn't even, when there aren't actual names even attached to this sometimes.
Just because you trade one guy and you get 4 in return does not make it a Chris Archer trade. For one, Chris Archer, he was close to 30 years old, and he doesn't have the excuse of playing in a spring training ballpark for all the home runs he allowed in his time with the Rays. The other thing, too, is Austin Meadows, Tyler Glasnow, and maybe to a lesser extent Shane Baz, they were already big leaguers. They had already had a taste of the majors, or they're very close to the majors. The guys that the Rays got in return for Shane Baz, a lot of them, if not all of them, are far away from the majors.
Yeah.
So, and that there's a lot of unknown there. Now, having said that, I will be really, if one of these guys like legit pans out, that's a win, because I'm just going back to the recent Blake Snell deal where nobody panned out. So you really feel like a loser there. But if we can get a franchise catcher out of this, I don't care about Ferret. I don't care about Brun. I don't care about Auvergne. If Bodine can turn out to be something offensively and defensively, an all-around catcher, then it's a win of a deal. Or the competitive balance pick, if that turns out to be, a guy,
another catcher,
an 18, 24 WAR player, I'll take it.
I right now, I would sign on the dotted line if Caden Bodine becomes a 15 WAR catcher for the Rays. I would sign that right now. That's what lottery tickets are. You don't know who Slater, Michael, and Austin are going to be. And the competitive balance round A draft pick that doesn't have a name, people. So, right now, we're looking at this and everybody's saying, what a great haul, what a great haul, what a great haul. I hope it is. I hope all of these guys become a thing. But guess what? That doesn't happen. Show me one trade where they all just became even the Chris Archer trade. Austin Meadows, dude, he had some other issues. He was an all-star one season. He had a great 2021, but he's not playing anymore, man. So even that same trade that people are just gaga about, even had a guy that should be in the major leagues and is no longer on a major league roster for other extenuating circumstances. But that's the facts, man. So
that's part of it. Yeah,
I think that's part of it. With prospects, you have injuries, you have mental health issues, you have anxiety, you have familial problems and issues, you have extracurricular activities that get you in jail. You have so many things that you have to juggle. So I think it's like I'm living in a baffling world where people are just saying these prospects should be when it's actually there could be, man.
Meanwhile, Shane Baz with the Orioles could be what Tyler Glasnow was with the Rays, where, he had his struggles in Pittsburgh and then pops off in Tampa Bay. It could be the same thing with the Orioles and Shane Baz. We just don't know that.
We don't know
yet. So it is what it is. We're wishing and hoping and believing these guys can become something. But again, every year we scour the Rays top 30 prospects, and a vast majority just don't make it.
It's the statistics.
Or just have a cup of coffee in the majors, or they're just not. They're not who we hype them up as in the reports and in the videos of this guy's he can be compared to Matt Wieters or whomever. Odds are he's not going to be that good in the first place.
Honestly, sometimes it should be considered a win when they're Reed Brignacs. when they gave you a 2-WAR season in 2010, and wow, you thought so much more, but hey, they gave you a 2-WAR season. Like that's how unlikely it is to actually make it and stay on the show. That with these 4 guys, with Slater, Caden, Michael, Austin, and whoever the competitive balance round a draft pick is, plus the 2 guys from the Brandon Lau trade, that's 7. The Rays are basically saying from these 7, if 2 become regular-ish players for us, we won.
Yeah, that's why you buy a lot of tickets in the lottery. Hope you can hit on one. You don't just buy just one.
No,
you buy a bunch of them, basically.
Exactly.
And again, there's been many, I don't want to say many, but several deals like this where the Rays give up a known quantity and they get a bunch of names back in return and they don't really pan out to be anything. We can look at Evan Longoria. We can look at Will Myers part 2. The list goes on and on. So there we go. Now in trading Shane Baz, the Rays, they must be confident that another Shane plus the rest of the rotation can deliver.
It's basketball season, people, and there's nothing like being in the building, the crowd, the energy, the moments you can't get watching from the couch. The only problem? Well, getting tickets used to be a hassle with long queues, logins, and price changing at checkout. But you don't have to do that with Game Time. That's why Game Time is such a game changer. It puts the advantage back in the fans' hands. So today, you can just pull up the Game Time app, check out an upcoming NBA games. Hey, maybe you want to see the Magic. You can do that using Game Time. And seeing NBA tickets starting as low as $25 makes it a no-brainer for last-minute game night. So today, take the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, that's code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today.
Thank you for listening to the Locked On Rays podcast and making us your first listen of the day. We are, of course, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, the #1 sports podcast network. The Shane Baz trade means the Rays are bullish in their starting rotation plans. That means that they think they can get close to a full year from Shane McClanahan. They think that Steven Matz is going to have a great season as a starter. They also believe that Drew Rasmussen and Ryan Pepio will be like they were last year, and they must have some high hopes for one of Ian Seymour and or Joe Boyle, at least as it stands on December 23rd, because you just traded a guy who gave you 30-plus starts and 166 innings last season.
Exactly. I mean, that's it. They have to feel really good or bullish, like you said, on the rotation plans, because you just gave up 30-plus starts. You just gave up 166 innings. So, like, where does that come from? Now, does that come from Shane Mack and Steven Matz? Okay, well, then now you have to replace some other innings. It's just math. You have to pitch, let's say, 700, 800 innings from your rotation. Well, start adding them up. Nobody pitches 200 anymore. So you're going to need some extra help to get to the 700, 800 innings pitched. So is Rasmussen, I hope he's healthy. I would not count on right now. If you're a Locked On Rays listener, you're hitting that like button. You're hitting that subscribe button if you haven't yet. Merry Christmas, man. Do you put your hand on the fire for 165 innings from Drew Rasmussen next year? Yes or no?
I think putting your hand on the fire for 165 innings for any Rays pitcher in any season is kind of a tall order there.
The only guy I think I would put my hand on the fire would be Pepio.
Yeah.
And even then, injuries can always happen.
Right.
So again, they must feel bullish to just say, you know what, we're willing to give up 30-plus starts. We're willing to give up 166 innings because not only is the return really great for the future, not the 2026 team,
the 2029 team,
for the 2029 team. Let's all please remember that, folks. The 2026 team did not get better. The organization did. where are you getting those innings from? And you have those names. You have Ras, Pepio, Mats is your third guy. Basically. Seymour and Boyle are 4 and 5th. And then Shane Mack, if he gives you something.
Hey, I think the Rays I think they're just buying into what the Fangraphs projections are with Shane McClanahan. 142 innings, 24 game start, 3.56 ERA. I guess if he does put up those numbers, then you can go ahead and part with Shane Baz. Another way to look at, well, I guess there's 2 other ways to look at it. With this trade, I do see them making another, maybe not as much money or as many years as Steven Matz, but like a 1 year or 1 year pillow contract with a free agent. I know people have mentioned Zach Eflin, something like that. Some guy that a Ryan Yarbrough type, I guess, that, I know Ryan Yarbrough already signed with another team. Or they just say, hey, we're maybe losing 95 games anyway. What's to stop us from going to AAA and calling up Joe Rock or something like that and being a 5 and dive?
Right. And they're like, okay, well, Joe Rock is no longer a starter. Who gives a crap if you're losing 80, 90 games?
Or give Griffin Jackson an opportunity. This is the tinkering season.
It's the tinkering season. It's to see projects. Maybe you can become, right now, maybe it's not in the plans to make Griffin Jackson a rotation guy. But guess what? Maybe it's June and you're struggling right now already, bruh.
Right. We're basically demoing a 50-acre community park and rebuilding it. Hey, there's still the swing set over there. There might be a splash pad, but there's a lot of new coming in, and it's going to take some time before it's ready.
It's an HGTV episode, and we have a big old farmhouse, and guess what? We've got money. A dead relative just gave us $1 million, and now we can make that farmhouse really nice. Let's get some marble countertops. Okay. Yeah. That's what the 2026 team is going to be. So where the rotation plans are, I hope it's not finished. I hope it's going to come, because with the names that we have said, I don't see 700, 800 innings from that rotation.
You didn't mention Jesse Sultans and Yandris Gomez. Hey, that could be your 7-8 guys right there.
How did I forget those 2 folks? Look, guys, it's not pretty right now. If you wanted a positive 2026 time, again, it's gonna be. Let's see what these guys can do. Let's see what they can project to. Let's see who are the names that we no longer have to see in a Rays uniform. Again, I've said it a couple times now, but boy, if I'm Josh Lowe, I am not comfortable at all.
Yeah, you better be posting some workout videos on Instagram showing that he's geared up for it.
I mean, you are eating the healthiest you've ever eaten. You are going to the gym very diligently.
You're doing yoga.
You're doing yoga. You're doing some meditation to keep your breath work, your pranayama work very effectively. You've got to be doing these sorts of things, because there's a bunch of guys that are out for your job that are doing the same. Jacob Melton wants your job, Josh Lowe.
Yeah.
Cedric Mullins wants your job or already got your job. Jake Fraley wants your job. Chandler Simpson wants your job. It's just a lot of competition, and you can't have all of them on the major league team.
And everybody's tradable except for Junior Caminero. That's where we're at right now. Yeah. On that note, we do want to remind you to be one of the first to join the Everydayer Club to get your favorite show ad-free and exclusive access to the members-only Discord channel. Stay safe, and we will talk to you later this week. And Merry Christmas, everybody. Ho, ho, ho.